Hello world, welcome to Code or Not to Code. I'm Mele Eva and I'm really happy to be here today. And as always, I'm here with Stefan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't wait. It's good to be back and I can't wait to make a lot of mistakes and learn a lot by making them.
Absolutely, me too. If you're new to this show, we are two friends who meet every other week and work on our .NET tool. Stefan usually knows what he's doing and I usually don't. So I'm happy. You also don't seem too confident today, but together we can work something out. We can work it out. Singing again. But yeah, I think we've implemented some really cool features in our tools so far. We've worked with using directives and experimental interceptors. And if you're interested in those features and how we built them, please feel free to check out our previous episodes. Because today we're gonna work on something completely new.
Yes.
And yeah, here's a GitHub page as well if you'd like to, give us a follow on any of your favorite social media platforms to just stay in touch or give advice or like recommendations for upcoming shows. If you'd just like to know when we're back live on air coding with you guys, yes, please give us a follow. All right, what are we working on today?
Today
A
we're gonna work.
chapter begins.
A new chapter begins. The short name of it is. My light just went out. I need to change the light bulb.
Spooky.
Great way to start.
Yeah. A new chapter is working on smart light bulbs, and so this doesn't happen to you. No.
In short, NRTs, which stands for Nullable Reference Types, which is a feature that has been introduced in C# 8 that completes the nullable stories. So is this C# 1? I'm not sure, but for a long time we had nullable value types. And since a more recent version, we also have nullable reference types. And what a question mark can mean in your code base. And we're super happy for Toast and Training to be back as well.
Hello, Toast and Training. Thanks for joining.
Cool. Yeah, let's jump right into the code. Let's take a look at what nullable reference types are. I'm going into our program main here. And let's do it before. So if we have what we can do since C# 8 is, for example, if we have a string, if we check out what string really is, that is a class. Every class is a reference type. I'm zooming in a little bit more if I can remember the shortcut. Yes. Every class is a reference type. And since the feature nullable reference types, we can actually write string question mark. When we do write string question mark, then we tell to the compiler that this text may be null. And we should be careful when dereferencing this reference type. Every string has a length, which is a property that returns indeed the length of that string. So if I have hello world, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters. So length would be 13. But if we write null here, since we do say question mark, we tell the compiler this may be null. If we don't do question mark, then we promise this can't be null, where we now get a warning here because we actually assign null to something that we promised is never null. So we need to assign it at least an empty string or some string for the warning to disappear. But if we actually have a nullable reference type and we try to dereference this nullable reference type, we get a warning now at the site where we try to dereference it. And this is actually exactly the warning that we get, dereference of a possibly null reference. And when we run this, have I set this up correctly? Can we run this actually out of, we know how to run unit tests out of Fleet, but can we actually run application out of Fleet? Tool, yes please, .NET 8. Yeah, we get null reference types, object reference not set to an instance of the object. So that's the classic null exception. What we have to do in order for the warning to disappear and also the code not to crash anymore is to guard this dereference with a null check and check is this text is not null. And only if this text is not null, we go into this block, and now we don't execute this code. So if I were to write an else and say console.writeLine text was null, we get an exception that we want to mute. 1. We don't get the length of a null string, but it says text was null. On the other hand, if we again sign hello world and 1, we get the length of the string, which should be, oh yeah, I don't write it to the console, so that would be smart to do console dot writeLine. Which should now print the 13 to the console. So we now have the null check. It actually now says, okay, because the compiler also understands expression is always true. It understands because we're here in the same function. The compiler understands that text actually is assigned. So
and nothing can change it.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. But if we actually put this into a function, static
we could write.
void
No, we couldn't. Could
my
we?
function. And
now intercept it, and then
yes, we could.
Yes. Okay. Good.
But that's not as straightforward. And we just pass the text to this function. Now, in this scope, in this function, we don't know anymore. Now, actually, null could come in. So we don't now indeed need the null check, because we could invoke this my function with actually hello world to, if we run it, now get again the length 13, print to the console, to the output. And if we pass null, we get no warning because we actually do allow null here. We now see that text was null. And the same thing to some degree also works with nullable value types. They have existed forever. If I have an integer, well, at least almost forever, I think. An integer is a struct. So this is a value type. And you can also write int question mark, which is now a nullable value type. But technically, a value type, unlike a reference type, because a reference type could have the null reference pointing to nothing, the value type, even if nullable, can never be null. Because actually, int question mark, if we go to sharplab and see what's happening under the hood, if you write int, reload. Int question mark. What's actually happening is that this int question mark is translated to a different type nullable of int or nullable of t. And if we take a look at this type, under the hood, nullable of t again is a struct, but a struct is a value type, and the value type can never be null. So what this nullable value type is a bit of a helper to wrap a value type and give it potential null. It's not 100% correct because it technically cannot be null, but like uninitialized. So if we call the constructor with an actual value, then has value will be true. If we don't do that, then since this is a struct, or well, in general, every field is initialized, but with a struct, we can actually assign, we can say default. So if we say nullable of int, if we call this with default, this is something that you can do with every struct, even though if the struct doesn't have a default, an explicit parameterless constructor, it is always default or new parameterless. If we write new into a parameterless constructor, this is always the same as if we would write default with a value type, because it's always then null, or not null, but zero initialized, which means that all of its field again gets zero initialized. And the bool, do you know the default value of a bool?
Yes, it's false.
It's false indeed, yes. And
nice.
Now if we have a nullable of t constructed with an integer, then this t is integer. What's the default value of an integer or an int32?
0, I think. Right?
Exactly.
Woohoo!
And then we get 0 per
Gold
default.
star for me.
But has value is false. So if we actually, there is a property, this is a whole new type, property has value, would return if this actually has a value. And when we get the value via the property, it actually does a check. Do we have a value? So have we explicitly set it to something? Even if we again set it explicitly to 0, which of an integer would be the default anyway, but still has value will be true. So we explicitly assign 0 to it, which means has value is true, and we will return the value. Otherwise, we throw an invalid operation exception. So if we try to get the value, so let's say text.value, and let's do a, let's ignore this for now, and let's just say console.writeLine, and we say text.get the value of this nullable value type. We assign default, which means has value is false. We don't get a null reference exception. Well, let's actually assign null to it. We assign null, but it can't be null because it's a value type. So we don't get a null reference exception, but we do get the invalid operation exception, which is indeed the one from, if it loads, the one from here, checking if we have no value, then it's invalid operation exception is from, because we have not explicitly assigned it. If we actually do explicitly assign it, let's say 1, now it will have a value and everything is good. To work around that, we now, there is also diagnostics, although this is not nullable reference types, but nullable value types. It's similar, but not the same, since it's a whole new type. We also get a warning. We get a different warning. We don't get the dereference of a possible null reference warning, but nullable value type can be null warning. So again, in order to fix that, we can make, well, we could technically write text is not null, but this is just syntactic sugar for, if we jump back to SharpLab, let's call this value. It's just, this value is not null, it's just C# syntax, because it's a value type, it technically cannot be null. It's just syntactic sugar for calling the has value property, which returns has value. And if has value is true, dot value will not throw. If has value is false, dot value will throw. And this is now how a different diagnostic in the compiler can now understand, okay, we do a null check here, or let's do explicitly has value. We know cannot be, but we now have a value and this is safe. If I would invert it to have a mistake, then we get this warning again. And well, the thing is with nullable value types, since it's a total different type, that's something that you, if you write in question mark, you have to explicitly opt in. But with the nullable value, nullable reference type, before C#8, this string question mark did not exist. If we go to our CS project and change the lang version to 7.3, which is the version just before 8, we now get, okay, other than that you can't have a top-level function that we have here, it also says that the feature nullable reference types is not available. Please use language version 8 or greater. So this question mark didn't exist before. Now, if I have an older code base that I upgrade now from an older version to the latest C#12 or the upcoming C#13, or at least C#8, we can now additionally mark things with a question mark. So previously, if I were to write, before C#11, 8, if I were to write code like this, there weren't any warnings because there was just a string. There was no string question mark. There was no warning that, hey, we are passing null, because, yeah, it always kind of could have been null. What now the null reference type features doing is just adding some diagnostic, it's a lot, and a lot of work to figure that out, but just adding some diagnostics here and there, checking the control flow and understanding, hey, if there is a question mark, it allows assigning to null or passing null, but then checks, am I actually null checking that thing, and has the warning here. If I promise this shouldn't be null, then I get the warning up here. So it's actually it is work to migrate a code base from not being annotated pre-C# 8 to actually annotating by enabling the nullable reference type feature via this property. Per default, it's disabled. If we don't set it in the CS Purge, you have to explicitly enable it. Because also now the BCL, the base class library, is null annotated. Now I can't think of a method that may return null. Some reflection stuff. I think if we do, let's do some type t and say t dot. No, I can't. Oh yeah, here we see there was some question mark. So this is no reflection. With reflection, we can at runtime analyze our types. If I pass in, let's say, type of string, we can check what the base type of this string is. Since string is not inheriting explicitly from anything, it's implicitly inheriting from object. Everything is an object. So the base type here would be object. But if I now on this object base type again call base type, object doesn't have a base type because object is the base type. Now this base type would return null. And this is why base type is got now later on. Before C# 8, it wasn't annotated. Now it is annotated. So we have additional annotations that we actually have to opt in because previously we didn't even know that this will be annotated. So our code was not ready for older code bases. And yeah, this is now what we're trying to do is to build a tool that helps migrating from null, so-called null oblivious code. So code base that was written pre-nullable reference types to make null aware and enable those null, both the warnings and the annotations. Because when we write string question mark, what the compiler under the hood is doing is adding here some nullable context attribute, which is now telling the compiler, so whoever uses this method, nullable context is set is 2. That's just a bit that is set. Is this correct? A byte? No, that's a byte, I think, under the hood. That tells now, okay, that this string is actually annotated with a question mark. And if I would call this method, I shouldn't pass null. If I don't do that, then the nullable context is 1, which means it's not annotated. So there is no question mark. So it's not safe to pass null. I think I now said something wrong. So if it's question mark, that's null annotated. So we may pass null. No question mark. It's not annotated. So we shouldn't pass null. If this was 0, then it's oblivious. That means we don't know. This could be because we disable, because you can actually control this, this nullable, what are they called? Nullable warnings, the annotations, you can disable them. Well, in this case, you don't get the attribute at all, but in some cases, then it could be 0. I think when it comes to generics, because that's a little bit more complicated, then in some cases, then it may say nullable context 0, which means oblivious. We don't know. It could be either way. And that's the two things that we have. We have the two nullable contexts that we have. We have annotations that produce these attributes and warnings that get emitted if a caller is calling something that is null annotated or is not a null annotated, so one with actually null and violating the contract.
That's so interesting because, yeah. Because since I just started coding a couple of years ago, so I've always had these warnings, and obviously they make your life so much easier because if you miss one of those warnings, it could potentially really harm your code and your project. So I can't even imagine what it must have been like without it, and it's not that long ago. But when you started coding, did you have those warnings, or did you have to think?
I started with C#6, I think.
Wow.
Which 2013 something-ish, or was it 5? Something at the time frame. That was still a long way to go to nullable reference types. No, well, I didn't know. I just you kind of knew the documentation of all methods, and
did you?
understood why something. Well, if you run into nullable reference types all the time, so when there is something null, then you do a null check around it, which sometimes leads to a little bit defensive coding, and at some point you may do more null checks than actually necessary. Or this is how it was.
Well, better
for
than
me.
the other way around, I suppose. I mean, yeah, I guess there's so many things that I take for granted, as a relatively new coder. It's also like, because I always just put the question mark on anything, and I didn't really realize that int question mark and string question mark are completely different things. Because I never needed to know, I guess. But it's really interesting.
Well, it's a lie. Nullable value types are a lie. Nullable reference types are the truth.
Yeah.
And totally. Nothing to apologize. Thanks for joining.
Hello. Thanks for joining.
You salty devil. Salt. What does salty mean? Salty means not that I'm a bit uneasy, isn't it? I don't want to say.
I think
when I have a grudge against somebody, or when I have a
it's something.
When I'm grumpy in the morning going into the U-Bahn, then I'm salty, aren't I?
Yeah, potentially. I think it has something like negative talk, to it. Something like, a little bit grumpy.
A little bit grumpy. Well, in the morning going into the subway, I think that is actually
especially in summer.
I guess you have to be. If I weren't grumpy, then this would be weird, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think so. Again, especially in the summer rush hour, it's just not the place to be, I think.
No, it's not.
Awesome. So our tool is going to have new features, I suppose, where we help this sort of migration move along. And what will this look like exactly? Like, what are the...
So the 3 features that we would like to implement, or 2 big features, are offer a migration strategy, or at least facilitate the migration strategy. Let's go to the documentation. I think this also shows their pitfalls. Is this a migration strategy? No, nullable reference types migration. There's an entire article about that, which offers, or this suggests, I think, 2 or various strategies, of which two we could alleviate. So one strategy is because you have 2 levels of granularity of how to control nullable reference types. You can just enable it on an entire project level. You could also just enable the annotations. I think, I'm not entirely sure if this is actually valid. I think only the annotations on a project level, or only the warnings on an entire project level, which means every document in that project now has per default this nullable context. Per default, it's false. That means you neither have the nullable annotations nor the nullable warnings. And enable per default enables both context in each and every file. And let's say I actually have this code that takes a type and, let's say, return base type. And this not just returns t.base type. May not be the most fancy API, but let's say we built this, but before we had nullable reference types. So this was false or not even present in the first place. So we shouldn't get any warnings. What do we get here? Cannot resolve. Oh, so yeah, because I called this method differently. Yeah. Oh. Then we return the base type here, and then let's print console.writeLine. Let's print this base type, the name of the base type, to the console. So if type of string, the base type is object. So this should print object to the console, and I embarrass myself because this is actually. Oh, because
what happened?
Must be disabled. False is not disable. My bad.
Disable.
Disable per default. or just omitting it altogether. Why did not mute it? Mute. Oh, they were muted, but I still had them displayed from earlier. Okay. This should now print the base type
object. Nice.
I think we could also do the full name, which now should be system.object, because object is in the system namespace. System.object.
Nice.
Now let's pass type of object into it. We get no warning, everything is good, because we actually have enabled warnings as errors. So in release mode, we couldn't even build it, but everything is cool. And now it says, null reference exception. There it is.
Yes.
I think the null reference is also called the $1 billion mistake.
Is it?
I think
because
so,
it's that expensive when you have it in production.
I think it was proven that it caused way more damage than just $1 billion by now.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Wow.
And then what currency? Well, shilling, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, then it's not too bad.
And now when we go ahead and actually enable this, we will get warnings here, because hey, the base class library, the BCL says base type may be null, but we return not null, so we violate the contract. So we would need to do a question mark here. But now we assign here something that may return null to something that is not null, so we need the question mark here. And now we may dereference something that may be null, so we either need a null check or say question mark dot, which is again some syntactic sugar for, let's paste this into SharpLab. But we need using system and remove that one, is some C# fancy syntax for doing a null check. If it's not null, invoking this property or method or member in this case, property. And if it is null, then it returns null.
Nice.
Since system.console, I shouldn't pronounce it so German, actually does allow null to be passed, everything is cool. If this would not allow null, then we would again get a warning here, because if base type is null, this expression returns null, and then we would pass null. And now again, would have a warning here. But since white line accepts null and then does nothing, everything is cool. Well, it doesn't do nothing. It just prints a new line. Everything is cool. And well, now we only had one document. What if my project is C#8? Let's see. When was C#8 released? In we need history, C# history. I'm not trying to say something smart, but it totally takes me forever. In 2019, and I think the first.
That's not that long ago. I was like thinking that's like, I don't know, 2014 or something, back in the days when I was young. But that's like, that doesn't even count, like, because if you sort of pandemic years don't count, so it's basically yesterday that it was released.
Okay, so if what is then 2022? Because 2022 is, I think, the first full release before or after the previews of .NET. So C#1, .NET 1. That was, I think, 2002.
Yeah.
What's that? Is this
if 2019 is yesterday, then 2022 is like a couple of hours ago.
Okay.
It's brand new.
This doesn't make all too much sense. Okay. Not excuse 2002, not 2002.
Oh, 2002. Oh my goodness. That was, so I want to say before I was born, but that's not the truth.
But if you started your project and still have the code base, you still maintain the code base.
If I started a project in 2002, I might be a genius. I might actually be Mozart in disguise. So that didn't happen.
But that means Mozart now has a 17-year-old code base.
Yeah. What a loser.
Well, actually, if you have a code base that's still maintained after 17 years,
Oh,
that's
maintained. Okay, fair enough.
actually not bad.
Genius again.
Actually, really, really, yeah. There we go. But you may have a lot of code, and you may have more than just one single document, and you can't. It's very unlikely that you can upgrade and annotate all of your code and fix all the nullable reference warnings and potential errors in one go. Maybe it's weeks, maybe even month, maybe even depending on the size. If you have a project that still requires new features, maybe it even takes years.
Yeah.
Depending on the size. Actually, for the BCL team, it took a couple of years to have everything correctly annotated. That was 2 or 3 years, maybe even more. Because there is a lot of libraries. There's not only the BCL, there's also a lot of extension libraries on NuGet. There's a lot of code that now needs migration. So there is various migration strategies that you can involve. You either go ahead and set nullable enable. Well, you either do nothing on a project level, but you go to now you explicitly, if you want to migrate, let's say I am now touching this program.cs because I'm adding a new feature. And while at it, let's also, in this process, null annotate everything. So we could nullable enable, which is basically an equivalent for nullable enable warnings and nullable enable annotations in this document. And you can really control it from bottom down. So I could enable it for here, but then afterwards disable both nullable context D again. And here we see, okay, I enable nullable annotations here, so the question mark is cool. But now I nullable disable, which is the equivalent to disable both the warnings and the annotations. And since I do a question mark, which is an annotation, now this again is a problem because we are in a context where nullable reference types should not be allowed. And it says, hey, you may want to enable this annotations context. So we can actually, if it's a huge file, we may also do this on a step-by-step, maybe function level. So when we now enable, let's say we do this document, we enable this, and now set all the question marks and do all the null checks, and everything is cool, and check this in. And now after 3 months, we did this for every document, so that every document now has this nullable enable, which means we can now in one go enable it for the entire project. But now we need to go ahead and remove all of them where we don't need to, but they are redundant. And this is now, since we also get, hey, this is redundant, this is now what our tool could take over, basically setting this to enable, if it hasn't been set yet, and delete all these nullable enables at the top of each file. Or even if there is multiple, enable, delete all of them. So there's none remaining. This is one upgrade strategy. The other upgrade strategy is let's go back to the not annotated state and no null checks. You could enable this for the entire project, but now go to each and every document and nullable disable for each and every document in the project, which has now the same result. But if we add a new document, new file, my new document.cs. Now this new document, I don't know this. Yes, please. No, okay, yes. Now this new document doesn't have this preprocessor directive, this nullable directive, which means now here we actually can, private string question mark field, here we can actually use this these annotations. So new documents, the benefit here is new documents we would do right. And then from time to time, whenever let's say, now I want to migrate this document, I remove nullable disable. And now I do, fixing all the question marks and doing all the null checks to be good again. So there is work ahead of time where you need to go to each and every document and set nullable disable. And again, something that our tool could do, enable it on a project, but disable it on every document so that you don't have nullable warnings immediately, but can now step by step fix all those nullable warnings so that then at the end, your project is null annotated and null safe. Or to some null safe fair. I guess you can never be 100% null safe, but null safe fair, because those are only compiler checks. They only happen at compile time. At runtime, it's still the same reference type that technically could be null.
Awesome.
And so we could offer, so our tool could now offer those two migration strategies. What is that? Enable on project, but disable in each document.
Yep.
Or the other one is, so this is basically ahead of time. What do you call it? Front at the beginning, at the start of your migration strategy, or we do it at the end of the migration strategy and find, delete, remove all nullable enable and set nullable on project level, which is, at the end of the migration story. So we could alleviate those two stories. And also, we could offer a bit of a what if mode. Or
like a little warm up.
Or yes, dry run warm up, where we could feed in a project or a solution to our project, to our tool. It enables the null, but only in memory. It doesn't store it to disk. We don't change the project. And then output all nullable warnings, or maybe the number of null warnings, to get a bit of a clue how much effort it could be to migrate this code base.
Cool. Yeah, so kind of like how we had with the using directives that we have had a counter that sort of shows you how much there is to globalize, and then actually, a globalizer that actually then changes the code and does the damage, not the damage, the magic. That's it.
The mutation.
The change. The mutation. We still need to do mutation testing, by the way.
Ooh, yes. We still have an issue for that.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. That sounds really cool.
So with what shall we start? Since you mentioned the globalizer, or the globalizer tool, where we did also the what if mode, or the counter beforehand, should we again go with that strategy?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Which now leads to the question, naming.
Gosh. Yes.
How do you call it? Type that takes a project or a solution, enables nullable warnings, and compiles the project or builds the project, what it projects if it's a solution, and then returns all nullable warnings found or occurred or emitted. What's the word? Reported. Diagnostics are reported. How do we call this type?
Well,
something with nullable.
Yeah. Nullable. Is it? I like reported, or like inspector. What did we have? Inspector. I love it. What did we have for for interceptors? We also had something that sort of reveals them, right?
The interceptors, we had the interceptor locator.
Nullable.
This would be the nullable warning locator.
A nullable warning locator?
A nullable locator is not sure about that.
Nullable.
What did we have in our warm-up session? Ooh, scanner. We had like nullable.
But when we have nullable scanner, we also need like error messages. It's like, oh, we don't have any printing any colors in the printer or something like that. No.
I'm
Do
afraid-
you have like a printer and scanner that sort of has really funny error messages? Even like you're trying to scan something that's like, well, I can't scan without any ink, and I was like, are you sure?
Ooh, now I get it. Now I get it.
You know? No. Okay, just me.
Printers are there's a lot of memes and a lot of short
yeah.
videos about printers in the IT ecosystem.
Yeah, they're all based on my life. So they all of those video creators, content creators call me and I tell them the stories. I've experienced them all.
Are printers always salty?
Yes. Yes, I would say so. Your salty printer.
Nullable printer?
Oh,
Maybe not.
maybe. I don't know.
Does perhaps the audience have input
Yeah.
or a preference? I do have kind of a preference for. Do you have a preference?
Not at the moment.
I do like the reporter.
Yeah. Okay.
Since it does find diagnostics or reported diagnostics. So, well, I guess maybe the nullable diagnostic reporter would be the long
Ooh.
name, but maybe nullable reporter would suffice already. Because I think for the other tools, we also have more
But,
yeah.
I mean, just a comment, because like a nullable reporter sounds like there's a reporter that can be nullable, right? Maybe a nullability reporter? Is that the noun? No, it's not.
Nullability.
That doesn't work, does it?
I'm wondering if there is a type that has. There is a in system reflection. There is a type. Let me see.
Oh no.
No. I think that system. So if there's like a type that would expect, but I can't. Reflection nullability context. Because well, if this name already exists as a type in a similar fashion, then I'm all in with nullability. But I can't recall how this type is called. Actually, I should know because I did a presentation on this a couple of years ago, and I can't think of it.
That's so funny.
It's embarrassing. Get underlying type. Context. Can I find this? Is it not nullable? Is it just nullable? Is it nullable context? There it is. This one, nullability info context. And nullability info context can create a nullability info for you, and the nullability info tells you if you have a read state and a write state, for example, for a property, because you can get the property and set the property, so you have a read state and write state, that has the nullability state, which is again those three values that we had earlier, where 1 or 0 is unknown or oblivious. There it is. 1 means it is not annotated, so it's string. If it's nullable, it is annotated, so it's string question mark. And this is the nullability info. So system.reflection.nullability is actually something. If you say system.reflection, well, I should do it in a type. Nullability, then we get to all of this. So yeah, absolutely, like, since it's already existing, there's already a nullability type that gives information about nullability, so I do like nullability. So this would be the nullability
reporter. Or I was thinking, because it's kind of like a what if situation, like maybe like a preview. No.
Nullability preview. Well,
or
the
like
reporter,
a teaser. Not a teaser.
A reporter doesn't change anything; it just gives
Okay.
information.
Fair enough.
So I'm super fine. I like reporter.
Yeah, I also like reporter. I'm just in creative mode.
So that okay. What's not is the namespace now nullable, or Nullability.
Oh, good question.
Kind of like nullable because it refers to that, but I'm uncertain. What is your preference? Nullable or nullability?
I think nullable.
So we have nullable, add new file, the nullability reporter specs.
Nice. That's what we learned last episode. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Because, yeah, test should reflect.
And in core, we add a folder. Oh, last
Unfortunately, I still can't follow you in Fleet, which is really annoying, but I'll navigate.
Can you control T to nullability reporter specs? Yes, cool.
Hello.
And new file, I'll also create a nullability reporter.cs, which is not a production code. And we will just do effect here to do and see if we can refer to that. New nullability reporter. And we import the type, and we are good to go to write the first test.
Woohoo! Awesome. What is the first test? Is that two?
Naming,
spaces?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah.
Okay, so what okay.
Zoom in, but I forgot the keyboard shortcut.
Wait, what is the naming again? Yeah, let's just write it down again. The method, right? That we're testing, or the situation, right? Then
yes.
the scenario.
Yeah.
And then outcome, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have.
Oh, that's the maximum level. This way doesn't work. Never mind.
What is the method or the sort of action?
Oh, yes. So on what do we want to call on nullability reporter to retrieve report? There we go.
I love it. Sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh. Wait, yes. No, maybe potentially. Then scenario is we have something to report. So like we have, what do we have to report? Happy path.
So if we have something to report, that means we have nullability warnings. Or is it nullable warnings? Or we just say we have warnings?
Wait, do I have to start with the capital?
Yes. Okay. Well, maybe not necessarily warnings, because technically you can change the severity of warnings as we do. We in release build, we have warnings as errors. So we should refer to them as diagnostics. That's the general name over warnings, errors, infos, and so much.
Okay. So the scenario is diagnostics are present. I'm so bad at this.
Has diagnostics?
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right. And I guess prints all occurrences or finds all occurrences or no.
Reports, returns, contains in the result, contains diagnostics or finds all. I'm not sure.
Get that, yeah. Diagnostics. Nice. Is that right? Yeah, okay. And then we need a range. I just had a bit of a blackout there. I was like, what is the first one? Okay. Can we steal this from somewhere? I think because what we need is we need to create a project, right?
We need to create a project. Yes. Well, I guess we want to pass both to the report that we have. We want to pass a project, but also, like we did in previous episodes, also a solution. But let's start with the project. So yeah, we need some facility to create a project, and we wrote that in past episodes. So let's reuse that. Yeah.
Okay, let's try. So like var project. Did you just see me jump and peek?
No.
Okay, good. Then oh no. Then I just how do I say, gave myself away.
Yeah.
Because now I'm peeking again.
Well, now I'm looking at it.
Oh no. Okay.
I would have done the very same because I couldn't recall how we named that type.
Project builder.
Project builder. Yeah, okay. We gave it a good name.
Okay. And then we want C#. And we want...
It takes the language version, doesn't it? Well, per default, it uses C#10, but let's use the minimum version that we expect.
Which is 8.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Good. Right.
And then yeah, we want to add some...
We add a document.
Yeah.
The oh, where did I go? What did happen? I went upstairs? How
yes.
did that happen? Okay. I'm doing very well. I'm so good at this. Add document. Okay, cool. We've got a project with C#8. We've got a document. Now we need to
add a document. I think we just take a string for it, right? Yeah. Well, we can optionally also pass a name, or we just set a... Do we always
yeah, I think we have...
name? So do we also allow adding just a... Oh, no, we don't have the... We need to give it a name. We don't have an overloaded... so I'll name it as...
Document. Oh, right? Is that too basic?
My document it is.
And then .cs. Right? Yes. Good. Awesome. And then we do this string interpolation that I'm not going to mess up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's not string interpolation. That is a...
No. It's string. That's not what I said. I did say it, but it's not what I meant.
But you can also do string interpolation with a...
string interpolation we can do with... Is that the $sign? No.
Yeah. When we have a $sign, then we do string interpolation, and we can do string interpolation with the thing that we have here. Does it even, if we hover it, does it? Yeah, if you hover it, it gives it away. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't though. I didn't.
Ooh, excellent.
I swear. I didn't peek this time. I was just sitting here with my little coffee thinking. But yeah. Okay, good. No, wait, I'm confused. What am I doing? Okay, like this. And now I can just populate it with like
text
methods.
Yeah.
Or like, what do we need? Do we need anything?
So
using system, potentially?
We don't, we can, starting with using system is
always solid.
A good idea.
And then we could have a class, right?
Well, we could also have a namespace, but we don't really, maybe we don't need a namespace. If we don't do a namespace, then by default in the global namespace, maybe we don't care about the namespace here. So we can always add it later if we see that we need it to be in a specific namespace.
That's annoying. I don't get the, like when you press enter, that it sort of closes my...
Yeah, because editor now, well, we are in a string now. Editor doesn't know that this is C# text that we write inside a string. Could be anything. Could be XML, could be JSON, could be just text that we write.
Okay.
So you don't get auto completion there now.
That is
I will be your auto formatter.
Yes, please. Good. Okay, now we have a class. What do we need in the class? My class. Right? Is that good? Okay. And in this class, we have...
Let's do a method that takes... nullable...
Yes. Question mark.
Maybe let's do both. A nullable value type and a nullable reference type, and then access members without null checking.
Okay. And how do you call it? Value or value.
I call it value since it's a value type.
And a string because it's a reference type. Okay, and then we don't have auto formatting, but that's okay. Good. We don't need it.
Let's access both without null checking. So let's get from the value, let's get the value from this nullable value type.
Value. And we probably need to assign it to something.
Yeah, but yeah, we can discard it though. Yeah.
Okay. And
from the string, let's get, I guess length is the most common thing to get from a string. If you actually want to get something from a string, other than a string per se.
Length. Nice.
Cool.
Easy.
And then I guess we need to, not sure on what we did, but since a project build, I assume we then have a build method or something to close our add document chain and then be able to extract this as a project that we can then pass to our method.
I'm not cheating. I am totally cheating.
Well, just do dot. That should give, because we have auto-completion. Let's see what we have. We have build. Oh, we have build checked and build unchecked, where build checked, build unchecked doesn't actually build or doesn't compile. So if we had compile errors in our C# code, so if we were to do something wrong here, is like this, it would go unnoticed. If we do build checked, then our test would fail already on this level because we have our input already is bad.
Well, then potentially let's do checked, because I don't trust my input skills.
I would do the very same. Well, I mean, I would trust my input neither. Yeah.
Okay.
This came out wrong.
Oh, that's not right. Okay.
Now we have to wait here. Nothing. What do we need to do with the method?
It's an async task.
This is the very, very first thing I ever explained to you in C#, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
There's some nostalgia.
I know,
involved.
every time.
I just call this project lowercase because it's a
local. I think, if I'm being completely honest, the very first thing that he ever explained to me was, well, okay, the first C# thing, but I think the first one was just literally the IDE, because like there were different, colors, and when you change something and you didn't save, the color changed. And I was like, why does the color change?
Yes.
And you were like, okay. Let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
This actually wasn't there. This was just added in a more recent version. So yeah.
Okay. See.
Tools change all the time.
Awesome.
Cool. Then now we have, this should be actually our, if we specify the tab. Yeah, this is a project that we can now pass to our nullability reporter.
Okay.
So we should create.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess we don't really, what I did here now, we don't really need an instance of the nullability reporter because it won't hold any state. We just pass something in. And so let's do nullability reporter dot report.
Nice. Nullability reporter dot report, like this. Okay. Report.
And pass in the project.
Nice.
Well, since we are on a project level, actually very, very likely, let's do this ahead of time. Let's call it report async, because since we are getting information from a project, we will very likely go into async land. And since we will build the project, in order to get the diagnostics, we will eventually run into some async. So let's prepare that ahead of time.
Awesome.
Now the question: what does this return?
A report.
a nullability report. Yes, that's amazing. That's great.
Nullability report.
I'll go ahead and create this type as well.
I like this naming. Well done.
So this should compile. Now we need to assert. Yeah. What do we assert?
The report, I suppose, right?
So the question is now, what does our report have? What should our report have? Well, we could start with, I'll just add, well, first of all, I'll make this type sealed. And I'll just give it a list. So this is definitely not the final product, but let's say we have a public list of strings where the string represent the diagnostics. And we call this diagnostics. And we do a get on it and initialize it so that we can actually assign it and have a typo diagnostics. Cool. And yeah, let's just assert. Oh, yes, we need fluent assertions.
We do.
Have fluent assertions.
If
only
you're interested
on
in fluent assertions, go to our GitHub page or our YouTube page and look at the previous episode. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yes.
And we do a deep dive into fluent assertions. It's actually really cool.
We did a way deeper dive than I anticipated. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, and we added this to our integration test project. So let's also add it to our unit test project. And there we go. Cool. So let's assert that. I think I need to build so that we get auto completion. Or does it complete? Oh, it completes already. Cool.
That's not my end.
No, then I'll get something like, let's see that it's not empty. Or let's actually assert that we have two, that we get two
should be
warnings.
I mean,
maybe
it doesn't autocomplete, but it's
well, we need to check
right?
why does this? Well, we can't not directly on the report, but the
Okay.
report has the diagnostics. So let's do this on this list.
Diagnostics should be two.
Does now autocomplete help?
It doesn't on my end.
No, okay. Then maybe we need to build the project that just run our could download all the packages. Do we have it now? No. Let's run the tests. Maybe this is fixing. Well, we don't compile, do we? Get the project to compile. So this will be static, and we'll have a. Actually, can we control that to create a method?
Ooh.
And yes, we can. Let's also add a cancellation token, since this is async. And it returns a nullability report. It says not implemented exception. I'll just return an empty, nullability report for now. And I'll comment this out and run the tests to see, to have fluent assertions here restored as well. There was a warning, an error. Anyway, do we perhaps now have a... Does it work now? No? So I guess we still need the using. Yeah.
Oh.
There we go.
Nice.
Now you should be able to .b.
So like
Let's see what this has. We have all b. Does it maybe have something like have length or something?
Yeah, I think so. Have count?
Have count sounds good.
Yeah. Count 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Let's run the test.
Let's run. No, it fails. Does it fail for the right reasons?
Not with the same white space as the closing line of the raw stringlet.
Oh wait, it should fail.
Literal is bad.
Oh no, I did it wrong.
Your auto formatter failed, which is me.
Wait, okay.
Wait, that's interceptor locator. What's bad in our interceptor loc? Ooh, yes. Okay, we added some code earlier that we have not resetted. Reset?
Yeah,
reset.
That's what happens when you use your files as Notepad.
Yeah. Just reverted that behind the scene, and now we should be able to run it. No, there is more. Name text does not. There is more. Yeah, this is all. Yeah, I didn't clean up the code from our warm-up. Oops. There we go. There is more to clean up. That is this one to go away. And now it should be good.
Woohoo!
Should. Famous last words. Yes. And the test fails because, yeah, we expected 2, but actually have nada. So, failing test, time to implement.
Woohoo! Time to implement. Okay. How did you do that? Oh no.
Just F12, the report async method.
I'm struggling. Oops. Aha, wait. I found it.
And I'll just do an await here so that it compiles again.
Oh.
Cool.
You make this look so easy, and I make it look so much harder than it actually is. So,
Well,
good contrast.
This comes with time.
Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, what do we need to do? Hey, we need to
guess we just need to, so what does our report async does? We want to enable nullable on a project level, and then build the project,
and then find those annotations, those
nullable diagnostics
things. Yes,
from the build. Return these diagnostics in the report.
Yeah.
So let's enable on the project nullable reference types.
Okay.
How would you try to go about that?
Well, we need to. I'm not sure.
Well, we have a project. I actually have no idea either.
Project?
So what I would do is just do project dot and see what we have. Maybe project dot nullable and there. Ooh, okay. No, we don't. That would have been too easy. We could. So it may not be on a project directly. On the project we have, because what's the word if we ausholen auf Deutsch? What is this in English? To take a step back. And
yes.
Because what we do in our project builder is when we build the project, so this is basically what we do in memory, what Visual Studio or Writer or Fleet or .NET Build is doing similarly. Maybe not with in-memory documents, but with actually physical documents, so which are an MS Build workspace. We here have just an ad hoc, where is it? The ad hoc workspace. And the workspace, which means just in memory, not backed by a file system, which has a solution, and each solution can have multiple projects, and each projects have multiple documents. And what we do to build, actually, well, we have to build unchecked, where we don't check, where we actually try to get the project that we want to build. We add some metadata references, which are, for example, the .NET 6 BCL in this case, because by default there's nothing. There is no BCL in just a bare project. You get the BCL by having the Microsoft SDK and targeting, for example, .NET 8 as a framework. Then you get the .NET 8 BCL and so on as a default. And you get additional libraries by adding, do we have a NuGet package here? Not here, but by adding additional NuGet packages, for example, Fluent assertions, then you get additional metadata. So we need to add this. And then we have compilation options and parse options. Parse options usually are more on a language level, and compilations, as the name suggests, on the compilation side of things. So it's not metadata references, so perhaps it's either setting compilation options or parse options, which I'm not sure which one it is. So let's explore these. So let's take a look at, there is compilation options, but this is an abstract type. Because Microsoft Code Analysis, that's the C# compiler, has, maybe there is a, I'll come to that back in just a second because we get a tip about what block is nullable in the CS Proj.
Good shout.
In the property group. So it's just a property that we set. But
so it could be in any property group, actually, right?
Because I think technically there is a way to basically set properties directly. It's because you can't, it's just a key value pair. But since nullable is such a core feature, I think there is a bit of a more native way to do it. I think, but I'm not entirely certain. So when we have the compilation options, they're abstract because Roslyn, the Roslyn compiler is for both Visual Basic and C#. So there is Visual Basic compilation options and C# compilation options. And let's see if these have something with nullable. Default. Oops. Import the type. There are nullable context options, so those are the. Now I also want to check for completion the C# parse options. No, they don't have anything with null. Okay, so it's the compilation options that compile, that steer the compilation via the nullable reference type features. And there is, okay, this is how we globally enable nullable reference types. What we could also do technically is in our test, enable here, nullable enable. We could do this too. But let's do this on a project default level, which is here we can set on a global nullable context options, this nullable context options, and these are most likely, again, something very similar or something familiar. Either disable, warnings, annotations, or enable, which is both warnings and annotations, which now reflects the nullable. Disable,
enable,
warnings, annotations, enable.
But
oops. There you go.
Destroyed.
So we can now set the. No, I lost the type. What is it? Specs. And so let's set these to nullable enable. But since this project, all projects is, that's all, what's it called? Immutable. So there may be a with method on the project. So what's also, when it doesn't, is there a with? If we go for with, if there is, with nullable is not, but there is a method with compilation
options. No?
So we can set the compilation options here, but we don't want to lose the existing compilations options. So we should get project, the existing compilation options, only change nullable to enable, and then do with compilation options. Would you like to try that?
Yes, but I'm a little bit confused. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to start on the...
I'll just comment these things out.
Yeah, okay.
And first, let's extract the current compilation options because we don't want to change anything. Other than the nullable option.
Compilation options. Oh my goodness. Okay, from project.
Yeah.
Compilation options.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Done.
But these compilation options are now, since they are on the base project, the abstract class. So we need to convert this into a C# compilation options.
Two?
No.
No. Would have been nice though. Okay, can we...
How do you, I don't want to say the name, but how do you, and also a different name, convert a base type to, yes, exactly.
No. Okay, good.
To cast it to a derived type.
C# stuff. we probably don't have to. I just need a new line, because then there's like something like this, and then that, right? Oops. And in here is the type that we want to cast this as.
Yeah.
Wow, English English is great today. Today's one of those days. It's just not one of those language days. Anyway, and you said we wanted a C#
compilation
options. C# compilation options. Perfect. And then how do we call this? C current compilation. Oh my goodness. C# compilation options, just like that. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And this.
Interestingly, we get some nullable warnings because there could be nullable compilation options, maybe null.
Oh my goodness.
So while trying to do something with null, we may want to null into ourselves, but let's deal with that later. Cool. Now we should be able to set the nullable context options to nullable enable.
So these would be the new compilation options, or like the changed.
Yeah. I'm not sure if compilation options also, I'm actually uncertain, are the compilation options themselves immutable? Because if they are, then they very likely have a wither. Then we can say .with something. Let's go to the C# compilation options. Are they immutable themselves? This doesn't work. Okay. Can you just try to assign? No, if we can just assign the nullable context options. Here they are. If they have a setter. They have a protected setter. That means we cannot access that set. So they are immutable themselves. So it's very likely that the C# compilation options also have a wither. So a with something method to set the compilation options.
Nullable context options.
Yeah. And now I'm just pasting it, what we have up here, nullable context options enable in there.
Perfect. And then, yes.
And now we need
more warnings.
Yeah, let's ignore the warnings for now. Let's actually, we can ignore them. Let's say nullable warnings, nullable disable warnings. There we go.
But one is still here. What's that warning?
That's it even ignores. Well, exclamation point. So.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
And now we need to change the original project where you can't change it, but create a new project that now has these new compilation options.
New project. I can see how many lines of code I need to just do anything.
You can always refactor later. That's totally
project.
Fine. No. No. We can't create a new project, but again, we don't want to create a total new project, but we want to use the existing project. Well, we can't change the project directly, but again, there is very likely a with method, which creates a new method. So something like with compilation options.
Oh yeah, easy.
This is usually the immutable. If you have something immutable and want to change one part of it and then create something new out of that, usually that's with methods prefixed with. Nice. And now we have the new project. And now we need to build this new project to get nullable warnings.
Okay.
And I would have no idea how to do that. But we already wrote that in our in-memory project builder when we actually build checked. So we have some method that is, we try to get the compilation, and this is where the async comes in. So we get the compilation, and then the compilation will very likely then offer us to get diagnostics. So with the new project, get the compilation out of it.
Compilation, and I saw that was also question marked, but we don't need it because we've got nullable disable.
Let's ignore it from now.
Compilation. And then I also remember that was an await thing. And then my memory is failing.
New project dot
new
get compilation
dot
or get compilation async.
Get compilation async. Perfect.
to which we then will pass the cancellation token. We get a warning for that, but again, let's deal with that later. So we now need to change this method exactly to async. And now we have the compilation. And now let's see if the compilation offers us to get diagnostics out of it.
Okay. Compilation. Diagnostics. Get diagnostics. Easy.
Sounds good. Which is now returning an immutable array of diagnostics. So we could now, and the nullability report needs, well, just needs strings. So now, now we need some, do we need some link?
Ooh.
Not necessary. Yes, let's do some link. So let's write a for each loop.
Do we need a, okay, no.
We can,
Should we assign this?
we can also do it inline in a for each loop. So we can either do it, you can either assign it here or you then dot it in the for each loop.
Ooh.
So we need our, I just call this now, how do we call this? I call the string diagnostic. Diagnostic in. If you mind pasting in, just create, the new report, nullability report equals new.
And do we need to string? No.
Yes, because now this diagnostic we want to add to this. So how can we now via link convert this diagnostics, that is a collection of diagnostics, to strings? Do you know which link filter, which method that we need for transformation? Because we take one type and convert to a new one.
I have no idea, but I don't need to because we have the master of link on the stream. No, but you probably know as well, right?
I should know, yes. Yes, I do.
Good.
You want to, so the most common ones?
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
The most common ones are either where, but that's a filter. So if something is true, then it will be used. And the transformation stuff is a select.
Oh yeah, I actually could have known that, to be honest. Sometimes, okay. Select.
You can also sometimes think, because link is very close to SQL language. So since link, language integrated query, and this, what is the S in SQL stand for? Structured query language. Yeah, both querying. So you can think, how would you write in link? And this is maybe sometimes how you get to the keyword.
Nice.
Oh no. No. I'm not sure what the no is referring to, but probably to.
Is it bad? Did we do bad link?
I hope not.
Okay. What are we selecting?
Not the SQL syntax, please. Actually, I was not thinking about that, because you can actually use proper, because this is just link extension methods. This is not the actual real link, because you can have real link too.
Not the OG.
I'm not trying to, because I will fail. C# link, you can have proper link, which is the really language integrated query, which is actual query language in C#, which looks like this. So you have this is how you would write a SQL query. This is how you would like it. Write a SQL query. So you have your source, you have, for example, here a filter, and then there's selector where you could additionally and this is, and here you already see those are the two most prevalent to use: filtering and transformation. And you could also write it like this, but yeah, I agree with the no. I also like the methods more than the syntax, because if it's not for the syntactic argument, from a syntactic point of view, the link extension methods, or the methods that are in system.link, are way more powerful than just this language query, because this query hasn't been mutated or changed a lot. But with the link extension methods, you have now with .NET 8 so many methods, so it's way more powerful. If it's not from the syntactic preference. And yeah, now we need to transform this object. If we take a look at the signature, the input, yeah, we have here this immutable array, and then we write a function that has t as an input, which is the type, and as a result, whatever we select out of this t, or translate it to. So how would you write that lambda or anonymous function?
I need this. Oh, it's got the nice little arrows. I love.
Yes,
that's why I like Fleet. And then we need what do you say? We need what we.
Actually, not sure. Let's start into it. Is there something like a name or a text or something? I actually don't know. But we need something out of the diagnostic. Let's see. We have locations. We have severity. We have a descriptor. We have an ID. So the ID is every diagnostic has an ID. We have locations. There's a get message method that returns a string. There's also toString. There's also a toString method, but let's go with get message.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Get message. Easy.
Cool.
Now and then we have the message.
And yeah.
The string. And now we need to add it to the. Ah, okay, easy.
Exactly. So let's see how our test is doing.
It's really funny.
We have default build type error. The typo namespace fluent assertions could not be found. Are you missing a using directive? Are we missing a using directive? Could you hear the hammering?
Not right now.
Cool. Some hammering going on.
Yeah.
Fluent assertions. Did I make? Maybe I reworded too much. Yeah. Fluent assertions. There it is. Let's do a .NET restore. Cannot resolve symbol. Fluent assertions.
But now it looks good, no?
Oh, what is this? I'm not sure what the problem is, but yeah, there is something bad currently, not good going on, but it will. I'll take a look at this later. Some build thing, maybe related to my misusage of Fleet, but we'll figure this out later. But the test is running, and it's still red because we found 3 items.
3? Oops.
So we have nullable value type may be null, dereference of a possibly null reference, and unnecessary using directive. We have the unnecessary using directive. Okay, so we actually, yes, so the system that we get is not needed. But maybe that's a good use case. Should our tool show every diagnostic or only nullable?
Only nullable.
Okay, I do not know what. Yeah.
Well, the two. Yeah, no, only nullable diagnostics. Yeah, diagnostics is the right word because I remember there were like 2 different warnings.
So we have. Oh, that's a lot.
Oh. Okay, we have more than 2.
A lot of nullable warnings. Okay, I'm wondering if is this some fixed range? Okay. This is not. Do we need a test for each and every one of these?
No. Do we? Oh, he's thinking yes. Okay.
The answer is yes. Right. Is it not? Because it's a lot. But let's do a bit of a.
I think we could write 1. and then let ChatGPT do the rest.
Perhaps.
Just give him a list and be like, enjoy.
But we need to write a unit test that covers every nullable warning, that violates every nullable diagnostic. I would be surprised if this would come out exactly how we wanted it.
Yes.
But maybe I'm underestimating the power of the tool. Let's do for now something simple. Let's check the range. So is it difficult? Well, let's check the range of it. Let's see. Okay, it's 001, and let's do like the easy ones that are continuous, that are like, I think it's 25. Here we had an nullable value type, can abuse the type parameter, and here is some generic stuff. So yeah, we kind of definitely need these two. But let's for now check if it is within range between 8625, because they are continuous. Well, I guess the best thing would be if we have like a allow list and we just have all these diagnostics in a collection and then we compare it against that. So maybe this is exactly what we should do and not something weird, to be very explicit about it. For now, let's just add let's just add these that we actually have. So maybe we should not only return the text of the diagnostic, but also the ID. So in our diagnostic report, I'll just do string. So we now need to add the ID as well. So in here, we want to get for each, we want to get the string ID and the message. Well, maybe let's do it not like here. Let's do it differently. Let's say, this is actually, let's get our diagnostics actually here. I think this makes it easier. Let's get our diagnostic here. And let's say we get our string message and our string ID, and we just assign them here, ID message. So would you like to, so let's do not the filter here, but actually assign here what we need. If you would like to rephrase that.
Yes. String ID is.
I'll just move that here so that it compiles.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So from the diagnostic, how do we get the ID?
I'm not sure. Oh, like this?
And in the second line, let's get the message.
Oh my God. This is what I mean when I was like, I make this look so hard. Diagnostic dot get message. Easy.
In the meantime, I'll get, how do we call this, nullable warnings. Creating where we now add all the nullable warnings in here that we now check if they are contained. So we only, let's now filter, because, well, let's first run the test.
Where? Oh.
To confirm that we indeed get the diagnostic, that we get the ID alongside the message. And we do. So we have CS862, 8629, 8600. Those are all, nullable related, and unnecessary using directives is not nullable related. So we definitely want to copy these two IDs into here. This is our, oops. Can I not copy from here? Right mouse taste. Oh, it's a different shortcut. Is it? Control-Shift-C out of this terminal.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Control-Shift-C. Oh, because Control-C in a terminal means cancel the current operation. So Control-Shift-C is eliminating this ambiguity.
Is there like, is there not, I don't know, some public API endpoint where you can just get all of the current nullability IDs.
Ooh, that is an question I cannot answer.
Okay.
How can we get all nullable warnings?
It just feels a bit weird to just copy paste, like hard code them in.
Yes, there is something. If we go to our organization, in the meantime, Shai is saying hi.
Hello. Thanks for joining.
We also have a generator project where we have generators and interceptors, and to test these, I hope I've committed this. There is a way. There is a way, but can I find that right away? Why is it still? Oh, that's still in a pull request. Ay. No, that should be merged. There is a way, yeah. Not sure if it's maximum straightforward, but I guess this is actually a wonderful idea. I love it. We need to go look though. So this is our test. When we set up, no. Here. There is indeed. There is. You can get C# command line parser and then completion options. Yeah. You can do this. I think I got this code from. Where did I get this code from? There is a template for creating C# analyzers, and this code is in the template. I'll just copy that because of course, and let's move that to our. I really like the idea. That's amazing because this should be from current version of the compiler. Be all of them that are available. So is this compiling? That would be cool. And wonder what the string is. If this is actually a what's the word?
I don't know.
This is actually a diagnostic. So in XUnit, we can use. Okay, yeah. How can we print this? Let's just return this in the result set for the fun of it. Then we see what we got. So we say diagnostic dot. Obviously, diagnostics.add, and we add diagnostic.key and diagnostic.value. That's the severity, and value.toString. Okay. And let's see what we get. Now this should be quite a number of these.
Yeah.
Hopefully, or it fails dramatically. Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, but
This
it's just
could be
error.
7, 8. Yeah, well, we don't really care about the severity, but is this actually? Yeah, it looks good. It looks very good. So this could be our list of diagnostics. Cool.
Woohoo.
Great idea. So
every now and again, it does happen.
That is not what I meant.
Should mark it in the calendar. Have an anniversary next year. Public holiday.
Let's get the key. Let's get the keys. Which is at least an enumerable of strings. Enumerable of string. Cool. And now we cannot, using some C#12 syntax to convert this into a hash set, because a hash set is great for lookups. Because it's like a dictionary. Dictionary uses the key is hashed, and is then some hash table lookup, which has almost complexity of 1 or constant complexity. So it's not the more items that we have in it, the slower it gets. It's not the case. This would be in a list, because if we check something is contained in a list, we need to get from the zeros element to the last element and find if it's contained. So the longer the list gets, the higher the complexity is. With a hash set, it's constant, because it hashes the key and does some smart lookup. I'm not sure about the implementation, but it's based on hashes. And this is where actually the get hash code, every object has .get hash code, where this is coming from, and why you should definitely implement this on value types, on reference types as well, but every value type should have this. Every type should have this if you intend to put this in some hash set or a dictionary. Anyway, now we can use these nullable warnings to check if these diagnostics are contained in it, if this ID. So now we need a filter. Would I like to write a filter?
Oh gosh.
On this diagnostics
On here.
to only return the ones that are contained in that list. No, there is no with in this.
Where is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
What I mean. We even said it like 5 minutes ago. Anyway, I got that. And then this nice little situation. .id, right?
Yeah, but we need...
No.
Yes. How do we check if this ID is contained in the nullable warnings hash set?
Oh.
How would you find out what hash set has? What kind of methods hash sets has? What properties, what members?
Dot it.
Just dot it, yeah. So let's see. Just writing nullable warnings dot, and let's browse through the list. So there's a comparer, there's a count, there's an add method, a clear, there is an ensure capacity, there is an is subset of, remove. I think I scrolled over it already, haven't I? There should be contains, is there not? Oh, there is, yeah. Contains. Okay. So we can check if that item is contained in that
so
hash.
It has to be nullable warnings. Oh gosh, dot contains, and then XID, right?
Yes.
Okay. Contains. Oh my goodness. Sometimes autocomplete helps, sometimes doesn't. ID is capitalized. Awesome.
Cool. And now this test has a high chance of passing, because we now should only have 2 warnings in there.
Chance. Confidence is high.
Confidence is 100%.
Oh my goodness.
Now it is. Good Wonderful. Job. Cool. Okay, now we can think about the... Now, what I also wanted to give a try is...
Can I just say, it's really funny that a comment is... Oh, okay. No. I was just thinking, because a comment has like a warning, but it's because there were 3. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll deal with the nullable warnings that we have later. What Tustin training suggested to what block is nullable in. If we could also do that by setting, I'm just not sure if this works, so I want to give it a try. Basically by somehow setting this manually, and if this would actually work, but I totally don't know. So I will not give that a try if the project allows something like that. If we could also be project dot, format is a little bit off. Let's go here. Project dot, searching something like a key value pair. Combination. Analyzer config, maybe. Next document, version step. I also have a deja vu. I think I wrote something similar already, but I can't think of it. There is a property on project. Is there?
I think on the...
No. I have this odd deja vu because Well, what we do in our application is, but I think we do this on a solution level. We already set some, yeah, okay, we add that's workspace properties that we set. This is not configuration really. Oh, is it? Do we need to set this on the workspace? Because configuration release, I think. But then we need to have our own, because currently we don't really deal with a workspace. We don't have the project. I wonder if there is something. I'm not sure. Maybe something with analyzer. No, it's not analyzer options. Let's go into project. Let's see if the project has something. Completion output info. Just want to give this a brief try if I kind of find this. Otherwise, I guess I'll leave this as homework for me for next time. I guess I'm kind of interested if this could be maybe via this workspace, but that's a bit indirect in our use case because we would create a workspace and solution, and we would create a whole bunch of stuff, which would cost performance for our tool as well, which I'm not super happy. So I'm wondering if there is a more direct way to set a property. Maybe it is on the compilation options as well, or on the parse options, perhaps. If we go to C# compilation options, maybe there is something that we could utilize. Some string usings. Yeah, we can set global usings here. Yeah, I guess this is all the stuff that C# enables. Oh, but it should be on the base type actually, because it's nothing C# specific. So I'm just browsing if there is some. Oh, we have some errors. General diagnostics. If there is some collection of key value pairs that we could set. Can't really spot anything here. Maybe on the C# parse options. Features. There is some string collection. Okay, maybe features, or what else is there? There's a kind, again, errors. Documentation mode, language version. This is where we can set the C# language version and the language, maybe features. So if we would go ahead, I'm wondering if this works. I'll comment that out.
Yep.
No, not the compilation though. Just this part where we use the new project. So we actually use the, let's say, var new project equals project to get this compiling. Okay, now the test should fail. And it does indeed, because it contains one item. Oh, annotation for nullable reference types should only be used in code within nullable. Yeah, this is also a nullable. This is also a nullable warning. So yeah, that's what we expect, and the test fails.
Okay.
Because we now have one nullable warning because we use a question mark where we shouldn't. Because we currently don't have nullable reference types enabled. Commented the code out. So it is still a nullable warning, but just a different one. So we definitely should also assert not only the count, but also the exact ID message to ensure that it is exactly those nullable warnings that we expect. Yeah. And now let's get a hold of the with
Can we then write our own fluent assertion again with ID?
Perhaps we could.
Oh, should have ID.
Well, I guess we definitely can, and yes, we should.
Okay, good.
Project.parse options. We again parse these as C#. Well, maybe we don't need to parse these because perhaps this is actually on the project.parse options, on the base parse options, where we say .with features. And I guess we should get the features first. Features is features. Features is I read-only dictionary. So we want to have features is features.add. Oh, it's read-only, therefore we cannot add. Yeah. It's time to use. What's it called? C#12 collection expressions. Nice. And we want to add a new feature. Oh no, this doesn't work with dictionaries yet, does it? No, it doesn't work with dictionaries yet. Only flat lists. So we can, maybe we can add actually a key value pair. Key value pair dot create, because that should be a string pair. This does not work now because it's not constructible. Yeah. I guess we need a new dictionary. So we have our, okay. We have a dictionary. We create a new dictionary of string where we pass in the existing features. New. And now we add to this dictionary a new item, string. Now I'm wondering if this works. The nullable as a key. I do not know if that works. Let's find out. Nullable enable.
Looks pretty cool. So.
And now we say, excuse me?
I've got high hopes. I was going to say confidence, but high hopes.
Features. Okay, so we get the existing features, store them in a mutable dictionary. We add this and then say with parse options.
Yes.
And use the original parse options, but just with this new feature set. Then we have our new project and then go on with getting the compilation and such. And let's find out.
Oh.
Does not work. We still get the, fill a nullable context. So I do not know what this features is actually for. No. Okay, this does not work, unfortunately. So let's go back to the thing that we had, where we get the compilation options, cast them, set nullable context options, and have a new project. And we should now have again a
love it
passing project.
Woohoo!
Do we want to go with the? I just want to briefly. Check if we actually also implemented the non-case. So if we say has no diagnostics, contains no diagnostics.
No diagnostics.
So if we actually do, if we don't
it's funny that you put it on top. I always put the happy path on top, but I don't know why.
Well,
no,
I guess both paths.
No.
Happy. No.
Well,
we do get
okay.
Because both are expected.
Yeah.
If we just don't find anything, it could be that there is just no nullable errors in the code.
Fair
so
enough.
I guess it's still. I guess an unhappy path would be if we don't have a C# project at all, because then our current code will crash dramatically because we hardcast to something. Those are then the unhappy paths that we need to check. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I used the method getValue at default.
Oh, wow.
Which is on an nullable value type, the same as getValue, as the value property, but it just returns the value without checking if it has a value. So in case it was set to null, we actually get the uninitial or the zero initialized default value of this t, which is a struct, and the struct always has a value. So for an integer, it would be 0. And for the dereference here, we do a null check by just writing.
Nice.
I think this is also called the Elvis operator.
Is it?
From the side, I think so, yeah. It's the null conditional operator, I think. I think the hair, it's like the question mark here. If you look from the side, it's like the, what is it, Locke from Elvis. I think. And actually, let's sharplab this, because what this does is basically wrapping it in a null check. So if we have string method, we need to make that one static. And we pass in a string static, return a length. Oh, actually, we want to return an integer. And I hit the wrong key. No, what am I doing? There we go. Wait a minute, this doesn't work because, length. Because in case of null, we could combine it with like this, which is now here doing a null check. Is it null? Mm-hmm. And if it's not null, actually invoking what we have here after the dot before the question mark. And since int is a value type and it cannot be null, if this was an int question mark, then we wouldn't need to write this, because then in that case, we would have then a null returned.
Oh, that's funny.
But when we do... Go ahead.
Sorry. No, it's gone already. It's fine. Oh, no.
Okay.
You could nullable context 1, and then you've got something else. And can you go to the left? Yeah. Return. Okay. Sorry. I thought there were two.
This nullable context is referring to that string. One means not annotated, so we have no question mark.
Yeah. No, the one above, though, there's nullable context, then compile generated, and then another nullable and thingy.
This one.
Nullable? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is how you annotate return. So this is how you annotate parameters. If I would have a second one. If I would have a second one, T2. Now I guess I need to, let's remove that code so that it does go. Let's just pass in a second type of to get this compiling. We still have just one because it applies to both. But if I make one nullable and the other one not, now we have the compiler is really smart to try to reduce this to a minimum.
Okay.
So we now have two, which means annotated, so question mark, but the first one actually should be a 1. Therefore, 2 is now some default context. If we go to the method, now the first, now additional as a 1, so the 2 is overwritten with 1 to be correct, and this one does not have an attribute, so the closest attribute is taken, the one on the method, which is a 2, which means annotated. And you could have another attribute here on the type level, which is now propagating. You can build up a hierarchy because the compiler tries to be very smart about it and emit as little nullable context attributes as possible to make the output compilation as small as possible. So it does a lot of hierarchical default to emit the least amount of code. Nice. And this is and then the return type, now it's gone because we are 2 means annotated, because now this 2 is also applying to the return type. So this is also annotated because that's the closest. And if I remove that one again to don't have this closest, to don't have this optimization apply. So we have both 1 and 2. Now the 2 is different, so we need to explicitly say return 2, which means annotated, which means question mark, and there it is.
Nice. Got it.
This is how that works. And with the nullable reference types, if we do a null conditional operator, it actually returns, it invokes the method if it is not null, and if it is null, returns null. But what if we don't return a nullable integer, but regular integer? We cannot return null. So I need to have, in case of null, this is now done with the null. I don't know how this operator is called. Now, I need to look it up. Now we need to define the null case. Let's return -1, and -1 denotes that the input string was null. And then this is what it is translated to. And now I want to know the name of these operators. So the question mark is the conditional access operator, and the question mark is the question token. Does it say somewhere? No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, no. Null coalescing expression?
Yep. Null coalescing operator, I think.
Okay. Yeah. How did we get there? Null. Oh, yeah, genau.
Oh, test.
Yes, to have code that does not violate any nullable contract problems. So this now should actually return to 0.
Do we also? Okay, no, let's play.
And it does. So our code is
nice. Should we also, just because we said we wanted to also have the check for the exact ID, can we just do that? I mean, we can write our own, obviously.
Not here. Let's do this in the... Oops, sorry. Oops. I should have not.
That's fine. I messed. We both work on it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Do I have to go return? No.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to stop now. Hands off the keyboard. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Because here
Upstairs.
we have two. Yes. Let's assert that we have... I'm not sure how to do this with reference assertion. And then later on, we can do this actually on our nullability report type, but for now, let's do it on this. But
we don't have ID here. Oh.
Well, yes, because this diagnostics is now a collection of string, where the first one is the ID. Well, this is not the perfect return type. We can give them names later on. Well, we actually can give them names. So here's the ID, and here's the message. Okay. We now have a tuple. Later on, we can maybe have a separate type to give it more first-class value. And now we want to assert if this list is equivalent to... I'm not sure what the warnings were. Let's just assume... Let's just write anything, see the test fail, and then we use the right ones. But I'm not sure how to fluent assertionify collections. Yeah, go ahead. So let's see what we have on the collection.
On the collection.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me just do dot so that I also get some completion. Yeah, let's find Control Shift to see what we have. No, B type of B subset, B same as, no, contain in order. Equals maybe it's just B.
Yeah.
Let's try B.
Okay.
Or maybe equivalent to, maybe let's try that. Is there an equivalent to?
B equivalent to? B equivalent to, yes.
And this equivalent to, since we're now on a collection, just gets an IEnumerable, the expectations. Cool. So let's pass in, that's not a cool thing with C# 12, we can just pass in a collection expression of, in our case, tuples of string tuples.
Oh my goodness, what are tuples like this?
Exactly.
Yes! Oh, I'm on a roll today. This is like...
And string tuples, yes, exactly. And let's do a second one of these, because we expect 2.
Okay. Oh my God, copy pasting today as well, like this.
Yeah, this is perfect. I'll just add a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4.
I'm so proud of myself.
This is well done. This is exactly a collection expression out of string tuples. Yeah. And let's see what we got. So we expected 2, but it what does it say? 4. It's possible. Yeah. Okay. So we expect, because the message doesn't fit, but is the 1. Okay. Yeah. So item 1 should be CS 8629.
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, again, Control Shift C. My bad. And the message is, okay, we don't get the exact message, but yeah, nullable type. Let's maybe, do we still have the docs open? Nullable, there we go. No, history. Do we still have them? There we go. Yes.
Nice.
Nullable value type may not be null. I guess we could also create our own. Could we reuse? No, the message. I don't think the message is actually contained in this, in the thing that we get here.
Oh.
Because I guess we were not going to build our own dictionary of matching a message to ID to a message. I'm wondering if this thing contains these as well, but report diagnostics, that's just an enum of the severity. So we only have ID and severity. So we don't get the actual message. So I guess
okay. Yeah.
Right?
So it should be contain?
No, but we kind of now would need to build up our own dictionary that matches the ID to the expected message. Yeah, but I guess this will happen over the course of the more assertions we have. And did I close this now? No, let's run the test again. And I'm not sure if I get that right. It looks like two faces without the string content.
Yeah, I understand what he means. When the tuple in the collection looks like an emoji.
What we had earlier, like this.
Yeah, I think so.
This looks like two faces.
I think
so.
Yeah.
Now
eyes and the nose.
Is that the nose? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I think so.
Yeah. No,
Must be
I
a
see
little
it
mouth
too.
that goes. But yeah.
Yes, and if we have a warning, then we have the mouth as well. Yeah. This can never be unseen.
Do you remember back in the day when we didn't have emojis and we literally had to paint little pictures with dots and slashes and no?
I sometimes miss these simpler times. Now you need to be careful of which emoji to use because of ambiguity. Yeah. Then you need to change your name because of appropriation. Okay, now wait. I get into old man's.
Why did you have to change it? What's wrong with your name?
I'm getting no.
Oh, because if you okay, if you got bad reputation for fair enough.
We had a previous incident, and
when you say we,
in the stream, it was actually the stream. Yeah, you once warned me that the eggplant means something different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When we use the eggplant. I just sometimes nod you when you draw little little like architecture whiteboard situations. It can get a bit interesting. But it hasn't happened in a long time, to be fair.
I'm wondering because what is really a cool classic and ASCII, famously our emojis were ASCII, they were not rendered on each operating system individually. We had, do you know what this is?
No.
We actually had this already in the stream as well. We have it when our nuke build fails. There's also part of nuke.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a table flip.
Oh, nice.
If something in nuke fails, then we get this emoji as well.
Table flip. I love it.
Now let's see if we need to flip the table when running these tests. We do not. Cool.
Woohoo!
So let's run all of them. And we already have a implementation of returning nullable warnings. Well, they are not enabled per default, so we don't have any warnings here. But when we enable them, then we return these warnings. if I remember right, order doesn't even matter in the collection. Should we care about order?
Oops. No.
Well, we don't do any.
Actually, no, I don't think so. Because like shouldn't be.
Let's run it, inverted the order. Let's run all tests. And it does not.
Nice.
Is this the feature of B equivalent? What if we just do B? This doesn't work. Okay, needs to be equivalent to.
Okay.
Isn't there something? Is there something to control the order?
Yeah.
Or enforce order?
I think there is starts with no order. Is something with order? No, potentially no. Maybe I'm hallucinating.
Like an AI assistant. Fluent assertions. Check ordered collection. Be in assent. Yeah, well, but this is just if we check. No, this is if we actually assert the order. But if we want to assert, and be in us. No, that's also contain in order. But that's only then a contain check. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is also
but it could
the same amount. Well, but we do assert the amount, so that's, I guess, fine. Yeah, contain in order. And
this should fail now, right?
Seems that that takes a params. Okay, cool. That means we don't really need this collection expression here.
Oh.
So I had an extra comma. Well, actually, now it's a little bit slower because we create an array, and with the collection expression, we may create an inline array, which is on the stack, which may be faster, but okay, this is... I'm focusing on the wrong side here.
Yeah.
A bit of a performance fanatic.
Nice. Yeah. But of course, one still passes.
Expected to contain items, yeah, and we see that they are here and now in different order, yeah. So do we want the... it actually says that it did not appear in the right order. Cool.
Nice.
So do we want to assert the order, or do we not care about the order?
I was thinking it's like, it would be interesting if there's like a nullable warning that we did not see, but then again it would already fail earlier. So actually it doesn't. I don't think it adds any value. I don't think it takes value away though. So I honestly think it doesn't matter.
So in order or not in order? I'm not sure if I got
well, my point was it really, really doesn't matter, because at first I was like, can we have like a false positive or a false negative if the order is not correct? And I don't think we can. So I don't think it matters, the order.
Okay.
But we can assert if you like it.
No, I totally do not know what's better. Just jumping to the documentation that Tosin Training is pointing out. There is, this is all that you can do with collections. You could say, there's actually, we combined it. Should have count, contain in order, contains item assignable to, and so that they're only ints. We can check if it's actually equal. I guess this then automatically enforces order. The equivalent is what we do. So what would you say with, what do you prefer? I'm really uncertain about order. Well, 2020 says order doesn't matter here, so let's not do the order. So let's say
be equivalent to.
Be equivalent to, because that one does not. Yeah, check the order, and we can also combine that. We can say diagnostics.should dot have count of 2 dot and be equivalent to.
Nice.
And yeah.
Awesome.
That's one of the specs. I always say test, specs. Well, it's .NET test, but okay. Cool. So what would be next? I guess we need to test what happens if we have a Visual Basic project.
Yep.
We need to test the solution as well. Well, and implement the solution.
What do you mean? Where we create a solution and have the same tests on solution?
Yes, because a couple of episodes ago, we implemented all of our Cointex functionality for solutions as well. And this should make no difference. So we also want to do this on a solution level, which then iterates every project and then gives a nice report there, or then gives multiple nullability collection of nullability reports. There is no support in Visual Basic indeed. So I guess the expected output would be some not supported, or in our case, actually throw some exception, which then on the UI layer, on the CLI layer, then translate into something a Visual Basic not supported. We do it on a solution, which means for each project.
What about sorry, I might be completely off topic, but like the report itself, like obviously we have like 2 warnings, but we obviously would expect in like a larger project, I don't know, maybe 100. So should we work on the output?
Ooh, yes. So we also want to make the report good for large projects. Oh, because we could have like 1 million. If this collection has actually Toast Training says no, we don't want to support Visual Basic in the first place. Okay, so it's not that the feature is not supported, but we just say no, Visual Basic, nah. Well, Visual Basic hasn't been, but it's still kind of maintained. It's still kind of, to some degree, kept compatible to be able to consume C#, modern C# code, but it doesn't get any new features really. So yeah. And I think it's just a percentage, a very diminishing percentage of actual usage. So it's not really worth, from a maintaining point of view, to put effort into it. Now that sounds political correct, but yeah. If we have 1 million in this collection, yes, then the output would be quite big. So we may want to group maybe or something. Is this what you were thinking about?
Yeah, I was thinking kind of similar to the counter potentially.
Should we then group? So should we then also group by diagnostic IDs?
Yeah, potentially.
Where is this? Which means group by diagnostic ID. And this will be a nice little link statement as well, link extension method. And do we miss something else? Cancelability.
Nice.
Cancellation, because we are in an async world, and we showed on the CLI, when the user hits Control-C, not Control-Shift-C, but Control-C to cancel the operation, then we want to cancel that as well. Since we assume C#8, we should also check what happens if less than C#8. So less than or equal to C# 7.3.
And this should, because I think, didn't we previously like actually like literally pass like the arguments as like, do you know what I mean?
No.
Because right now we just call this report async, but I think in previous tests we've always had this sort of like, this actually write, the whatever tool, and then
to invoke the tool, like on a so we do like
.NET
Flash over.
I'm so glad you understand me when I'm rambling like this.
Yeah, we will do this not here, but this will be the next. Go to the CLI level to implement the CLI side of things as well, which will be then.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess. Well, we could also do this first and then go back to that. Well, maybe I guess it would be good to before maybe the first step do at least the nullability report thing, because this could change the contract of the nullability report. And once we settled on that, then we could go to the CLI.
Yes.
And then the rest is just some additional.
Do we not have more unhappy paths? Is there nothing else that could go wrong?
We could pass in Visual Basic. Well, what if we? How do we deal? What to do if the project has different warnings? Do we just ignore them? Well, actually, we have this case already, so we just ignore them. What if the project has errors?
Good question.
Or compilation errors, better to say. Because I think in the other tools, we actually then say, yeah, no, there is errors. We can't really give a meaningful result. Please fix the errors first. Warnings, we just don't show. That's cool, but we should. Not sure if a meaningful result could be published if there's errors. Real syntax errors even. So we perhaps don't want to do anything if we have errors, perhaps. But this is also an unhappy path that we may be supporting. And other than that, can't really think of anything else, but maybe till next time we have a whole slew of new acceptance criteria.
Nice.
And the first step will be fluent assertion CIFI.
Nice.
The nullability report assertions.
Perfect.
So we don't access this diagnostics directly, but have a nice report that should have 7 diagnostics, well, something, yeah. So we do have quite a roadmap, and then we go to then when the CLI is implemented as well, then we go to the migration strategy tools. So we have, I guess, the next 6 or 7 episodes planned.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Didn't we originally estimate this topic to, I think, 8? Yeah, okay.
Don't hold me accountable.
So yeah, nothing can go wrong. Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that's a really good start for today. It was fun. I learned something. Did you learn something?
I learned that this method is more usable than I ever thought. And I learned how not to try to set nullable. So I learned that I do not know what this features is about.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Quite a few new topics for all of us, I think. I hope everybody watching and spending the evening with us learned something as well. Thanks again for joining. And we're going to bring a little bit, I think we're going to bring this back, right? Because we used to have like a recommendations section for if you sort of want to crave content in between our next show. And we've got a little meetup for you guys because it's tomorrow. I think, is this online as well? Or is it
This is online. I'm posting the link in the chat.
Yeah.
This is online as well. We usually link. Oh, it doesn't say here, but if you go to the group, then there is also a remote version of this that contains the links. If you attend, awesome. I guess we also link them here somewhere here on Twitch and YouTube as well. But also the in-person event where you could see, I kind of practice it, but I'm not sure if I can do it right. Jiří Chinchura, a developer on the Microsoft team in the performance and entity framework teams, who will show us how to use the Visual Studio Debugger to its fullest potential.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to be there, so don't miss it. And
I won't.
yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and when are we back up? When is our
We'll
next
be
show?
back in not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks this time.
Yeah, because I'm going on vacation. Woohoo.
July, well earned. July the 17th at the same time.
Same
Well,
place,
the
same time.
equivalent time.
Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah, but thank you guys so much for joining again. It was really, really fun. Maybe potentially see you tomorrow, virtually or otherwise. And yeah.
We'll be back.